Guys, you've seen the picture. It's been flying around social media for a long time. Vice President Kashim Shettima sitting on a mat eating from the same bowl with what people call bandits and Boko Haram members. It was a huge scandal. People asked why is a governor dining with terrorists? Well, the vice president has finally decided to clear the air. He didn't just deny it. He gave a detailed breakdown of exactly who those people were and why he was there. Was it a meeting with terrorists or was it a desperate move to save the next generation? So, you need to hear this explanation because it changes the whole story. So sit back and take a watch.
The jockey relationship between the Kanuris and the Fulanis. When Boko Haram moved to the Sambisa forest, they allowed the Fulanis to graze their livestock until wars trickled down to them that the Fulanis were revealing information on the movements of the Boko Haram to the Nigerian military. So they dropped them away, confiscated all their livestock. Very wealthy individuals became destitute overnight. Most of them became my guards in the schools the government was building across Borno State, because underneath the mayhem of Boko Haram, beneath the nihilism lies the real cause, which is extreme poverty. And education provides us the greatest tool of really addressing the root causes of insurgency and banditry. So we are crazily, massively building educational facilities, and most of these Fulanis were the Megas in those facilities. I took it upon myself to break the intergenerational transfer of poverty, to reach out to those Fulanis and enroll their kids to school. I was even giving them rice, beans, clothing items, just to convince them to entrust their kids to me so that I can take them to school. And I was not keen on mixing them with the local people because they are the poorest of the poor. I even built a school, a special school. All the classrooms were air conditioned. We were using digital education aids. We were feeding them 2 times per day. And we were bringing buses. Buses were conveying them from their homes to the school, just to encourage the parents. Regularly, whenever I go on visits, I used to sit down with the parents, eat, chat, just to win their confidence. One of those pictures recently went viral. Shettima dining with bandits and Boko Haram in Maiduguri. But I have developed thick skin to such accusations.
All right, let us unpack what we've just watched because there's a lot of deep context here that many people missed. First, Shettima is addressing the elephant in the room. That viral video, he admits, yes, he was sitting on the floor eating with them, but he says these weren't active Boko Haram fighters. They were the victims of Boko Haram. Did you catch the history lesson he gave? He explained that when Boko Haram first moved into Sambisa forest, they tricked the Fulani herdsmen. They let them graze their cattle peacefully, but once the terrorists got comfortable, they turned on the Fulanis, suspecting them of leaking information to the Nigerian military. What happened next? They confiscate their cattle. Shettima said something very profound here. Very wealthy individuals became destitute overnight. Imagine having hundreds of cows today and tomorrow you have nothing. He said these people were forced to become guards, that's security guards, in the schools the government was building. So here is the strategy he used. He realized that the root cause of this insurgency was extreme poverty and lack of education. But how do you get a nomadic Fulani man who has lost everything and is suspicious of the government to send his child to a Western school? You don't just order them, you have to cut them, as in you could manage them well. So Shettima said he took it upon himself to break that intergenerational transfer of poverty. He wasn't just building classrooms, he was building trust. He admits to essentially bribing them by giving them rice, beans, and clothes just to convince them to trust him with their children. And the dying part, he said, I used to sit down with the parents, eat, chat, just to win their confidence. So the bandits in the photo, according to him, were actually displaced, impoverished parents he was trying to recruit into education system. He even mentioned the schools weren't just basic structures. He talked about air-conditioned classrooms, digital aid, and feeding the kids twice a day. He was trying to show them a life better than the bush. Now, let's be critical about this. It is very easy to look at a picture, scream terrorist sympathizer, but governance is really that black and white. Here is my take on this situation. In politics, optics are everything. A picture of a governor eating with rough-looking men in bush looks terrible without a caption. It was a PR nightmare. However, if what Shettima is saying is true, this is actually an example of hands-on leadership. Most politicians sit in their air-conditioned offices in Abuja and issue press releases about bandits. Shettima went into the lion's den. If you want to solve a problem involving people at the grassroots, you cannot do it from a glass house. You have to sit on the mat. We have spent billions of dollars buying Super Tucano jets and bullets to fight insurgency. But as Shettima said, beneath the mayhem lies extreme poverty. You cannot shoot poverty with a gun. The only weapon against poverty is education. If Shettima actually converted the children of these cattle herders into educated students, he effectively disarmed the next generation of potential bandits. A child in an air-conditioned classroom learning digital skills is far less likely to pick up an AK-47 than a child left roaming the Sambisa forest. That is a fact. I think it's important that he highlighted the plight of Fulanis in the Northeast. We often lump everyone together. We hear Fulani and think herdsmen attackers, but Shettima is reminding us that the Fulanis were also major victims of Boko Haram. They lost their wealth, their cattle, and their dignity by acknowledging their suffering and eating with them. He gave them a sense of belonging. That is how you build peace, not just by fighting the bad guys, but by supporting the victims so they don't become the bad guys. So, for my verdict, do you think Shettima has a joking relationship with them? Yes. He said so himself, but was it malicious based on this explanation? It seems it was a necessary political tool to get the children off the street. If eating rice and beans on a dusty mat is the price to pay to get 1,000 children into school, then I think that is a price any sensible leader should be willing to pay. But that's just my analysis. I want to hear from you. Do you buy the vice president's explanation, or do you think eating with them was a smart move to win trust? Or was it too risky for a governor? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Let us drag this matter. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Obas Trending Gist for more updates. I will see you in the next video.